Graph the following line. Whenever x increases by 1, y increases by 0.6. So at first we might be here and saying, okay, x by 1, y by 0.6. Might be a little confusing, have no idea what we're doing here. But don't worry, this stuff is not going to be difficult whatsoever. So I always like to start off by drawing a little table. Here's our table. Whoa, okay. That was ugly, but it'll do the job. So here we have our x and here we have our y. Let's start with a 0. And whenever x is 0, y has to be 0 because it's not increasing at all. And then we have a 1. What does y do every time x increases by 1? It goes up by 0.6. So here we have 0.6. 2, that's going to give us 1.2. 3, that's going to give us 1.8. 4 will be 2.4. Let me slide this down. And 5 is going to give us a 3. All right, so now we can simply start plotting some of these points. Let's start with the 0 and 0. That's going to be directly at the origin. And these 4 are going to be a little challenging to graph accurately on this coordinate plane. So I'm just going to skip down to this 5 and 3. And that's perfectly acceptable. 5 is here, 3 is here. Perfect. Now, depending on how many points your teacher wants you to graph, then you can either keep going, or if 2 is okay, because that's technically already a line by the definition of a line, then that is perfectly fine by me. And we're going to connect the dots, arrows to show forever going. And now we know that that is our line that is accurately shown. Now, if we are asked to find the slope, how do we do that? Slope is just a little formula that is change in y over change in x. This is a triangle. Let me maybe make that look more like a triangle. I know in 2K, triangle means throw a lob, but here in math, it means change. So change in y over change in x, what does that mean? It means if I divide a y value by an x value, that's going to give me whatever my slope is. So let's go ahead and test that out. 0.6 divided by 1, that equals 0.6. Anything divided by 1 is itself, so that was an easy one. 1.2 divided by 2 will also give us 0.6. 1.8 divided by 3 will give us 0.6, and so on. All of these are going to give us 0.6. What does that show us? That means that we have a proportional relationship. Our y's and our x are related to each other in a way that we get the same value every single time that we plug them into our formula. And that's simply all that a proportional relationship means. And now we know how to represent one by a graph. Very simple. We pick points. We do whatever the instructions tell us. In this case, the instructions told us that whenever x increased by 1, y is going to increase by 0.6. So that's what we did here. 1 gives us 0.6, 2 gives us 1.2, and so forth. Now, as I'm sure you can guess what the slope is going to be, I'm sorry, we already know what the slope is, but let's say we were asked to put this into an equation. What do? We know that the formula for the equation is y equals mx. What do we do here? Fortunately, we already have a y. We have a bunch of y's, and we have a bunch of x's, but we don't even need to plug in values for those. We could, and I'll go a little further into detail on that in a second, but let me just show you. So y, we're going to leave the y exactly how it is, equals m. We don't have any m's on our screen, but I promise you that m just means slope. I'm not sure why, but that's just what it means. We know our slope is 0.6 because we already figured that out, and then we leave our x the same. And this is our equation. That's basically it. And I know I said I was going to show you one more thing. Oh, that's right. What does this equation mean, basically? In case you aren't completely sure, it means once I have found what my slope is, this is 0.6, whenever I plug in an x value, it should give me its corresponding y value. So I'm going to delete, I'm not going to delete anything, I guess, just so, in case someone hasn't written it down. Okay, y equals 0.6x. Let's pick any x value. I'm going to pick 3, okay? Y equals 0.6 times 3. And when we multiply this out, we get 1.8. Right over here, we get 1.8. Let me make this a little more neat somewhere. I'm going to go down here. Y equals 1.8 when we plugged in that 3. And if we look over here, when we see the 3 on the x, we get a 1.8. That's basically what it means. That's more information. I just showed you more information than what was asked of you in the question, but I'm not sure what kind of questions we get on our test. So I just wanted to make sure we have as much information as possible. I hope that all made sense to you. If it didn't, leave a comment down below asking a question. I'll make sure to get back to all of you or send me an email. Thanks, and I hope you learned something.